if this true, it freaking changes everything. And this better be true. I'm going to tell you that right now. Welcome to Dodger Digest. Brad J with you. Subscribe, like, turn on notifications. And this is a big story. Mike Nelson and myself, we've been talking about it for days about what do the Dodgers need to do. If there's one piece, what would you do? Is it be starting pitching? Would it be a position player? Would it be bullpen? Well, we came up with it, and I think the Dodgers might be making the move in the right direction, and that's what I'm talking about, Willis. Well, let's go on that. Joel Reuter of the Bleacher Report recently listed the Dodgers as the best fit for Kansas City Royals starter Seth Lugo. So, okay, is that the guy we need? Is it a bullpen guy we need? Well, I'm not going to complain about pitching, all right? If the Dodgers are going to pick up a pitcher, I'm okay with that. The Dodgers are probably only going to target high-end rotation additions since they have a number of quality arms. And Lugo fits the bill with a 2.67 ERA, a 1.08 WHIP, and 101 innings this year after finishing runner-up in the AL Cy Young battling. So he could be the 2025 version of Jack Flaherty. That's what Reuter predicted. Could that be what the Dodgers need? And you got to think the Dodgers need some more pitching, right? And whether it's a starter, whether it's a bullpen, whether it's a starter converted to a bullpen guy, whatever you got to do, you got to think that that's what the Dodgers need to do. And Mike Nelson and I, we've been talking about it for days about, is this a good move for the Dodgers? Should they think about getting another starter? Should they just work on a bullpen? Should it be a third baseman? What's the deal? Well, Friedman has said for the Dodgers a bunch of times, he does not want to spend any money. He does not want to spend money on a pitcher or on any players for that matter. So he wants to go in the second half of the season with the guys he has. So is that working out? Second best record in all of baseball, best in the National League so far. But with the talent on the roster, you really got to think the Dodgers should be higher up than that. It's one thing, yes, being the best record in the National League, but they should have the best record in baseball, not just the best record in the National League. So he doesn't want to spend money. That's a spot that I think the Dodgers could be into doing, right? So what has he done so far this year? Seth Lugo, first of all, 35 years old. So it's not a guy that you're going to trade for and keep him on the team and like, oh, I'm going to sign him up to a 5-year. You're not going to do that with Seth Lugo. But could he be a Band-Aid that the Dodgers need this season? Well, 6-5, that's the record. 2.67 on the ERA. He's pitched 101 innings, only 88 strikeouts in 101. So I'd like to see that number be up, but whatever. He's been in 17 games. Career-wise, he's a 3.30 is what he is, and a 1.14 WHIP. So he's pitching quite well at 35, better than what he normally pitches. But is that enough for the Dodgers? Do you make that move if you're the Dodgers? Is that something the Dodgers would want to make? I got to think so. I got to think if you're going to make a move, you need to make a move, and you need to do it now because the deadline's coming. So for the Dodgers, I think that's a move that could be made. And you look at what KC's doing, they don't look good anyways. Even in the wild card, they're like 4.5, 5 games out. So it could be something like, they're sellers. And that's exactly what they could do. Okay. So no matter how you think of it, I think the Dodgers need to make the move. I like this Lugo move. I think that would be a good one. All right. Hall of Famer says Shohei, if he did just one thing, he would be the best pitcher in all of baseball. One thing. One thing. If he did one thing, what would that one thing be? What would you think the one thing would be? Well, first of all, this is coming out of John Smoltz, right? So Smoltzy is a guy you can listen to. He's proven himself, right? So here's what Smoltzy says about Shohei, which I think this is just amazing if you think about it. If he never hits for 1 year, for just 1 year, and just pitches, he'll be the best pitcher in baseball, period. Hands down, it's not even a debate. He said this on the Dan Patrick Show. So Smoltzy calling it out. I mean, do you believe that? Do you believe the fact that if Shohei decided that he was going to take next year off, right, and not even hit it all, do you think Shohei would be the best pitcher in baseball. I agree. I agree 100%. I think feel like Shohei would be the best pitcher in all of baseball. And yeah, it would it take not hitting? Yeah, because it shows. Smoltz knows it shows the two things that you're doing. Like he had that. Smoltz had to hit back in his day, right? But one thing can affect the other, and that's what it comes down to. And hitting can affect pitching. Pitching can affect problem with hitching can affect pitching, and pitching can affect hitting. Here's the deal: because there's not a lot of guys who can do it. In fact, there's one, Shohei. I mean, there's pitchers that can get hit, and even back in the day, Kershaw would be called in if they had no more bench players to pinch hit. But can you imagine that Shohei doesn't hit for a year, and he turns out to be the best pitcher in baseball? Would you take a chance on that? Would you go for that? I wouldn't go for that. I wouldn't do it. I don't think the trade-off by any means is worth it. To lose his bat, I think is something you don't want to do. But it's pretty cool to think about that. And I got a 1,000% agree with Smoltz on that one. All right. Well, tonight, big game. Dodgers have got to face Milwaukee. Remember, they swept the Dodgers. And so Dodgers, second half of the season, this is how you get off on the right foot and you kick their butts. You sweep them. You beat Milwaukee. All right? That's what you do. You got Glasnow on the mound. Look at his last 3 appearances. He's really figured something out. I like what he's all about right now. I feel like Glasnow is where we want him. 1.80 in his last 3 innings. That's his ERA. His overall ERA is 3.52, but that is some bad starts mixed in with that. Hits allowed in the last 3, that's 7. Strikeouts, that's 11 in the last 3. Walks, 5. And then, Quinn Priester, he's done quite well too. 3.06, the ERA for him. 12 hits allowed, so he's not almost double on the hits, but he's had 20 strikeouts, almost double on the strikeouts too as well, with 6 walks on his side. Okay, so that's kind of Glasnow. Let's say he takes care of business. Who's next, Brad J? Well, that's going to be Sheehan. Sheeny is going to be the man to go on day 2. He's got to go against Peralta, and he's got a 2.03 ERA right now with 13 Ks. He's just been back a little while. I like this because if the Dodgers and Glasnow can get a win, I think Sheehan can surprise some people and get a win as well. And then you got to look at, then how do we wrap up the series, the 3-game series against Milwaukee? That's how we wrap it up with the GOAT. We bring the GOAT out is what we do. We bring Kershaw, 4-1, 3.38 ERA, 35 Ks. He hit his 3,000. I was at that game. Stoked to see him do that. But that's how it's playing out right now. And if you're the Dodgers right now, it's time to send the message to Milwaukee that your 3-game sweep, that's a fluke. It's not going to happen again. So the Dodgers need to take care of business and get the win, take the W, and move on and sweep these guys. And even if you don't sweep, look, you got to win. You got to win the series. You always got to take 2 or 3, 3 or 4. That's the only way it works. And if you keep winning the series, you're going to keep winning in baseball, and that's what Dodgers need to do. So, wishing the Dodgers a lot of luck. Glasnow tonight, Sheehan tomorrow, Kershaw to wrap things up, and I think the Dodgers can do it. So, that's it right there. That's going to do it for Dodgers Digest, man. Growing like a weed. Make sure you turn on your notifications, hit like, and also subscribe to the channel. I'm Brad J. And as you go through the day, and we get ready for the game tonight, just think Dodger blue, and let's go Dodgers.